In this video, I'm gonna give you 5 tips that I would do if I had to start all over again, right? I wish I would have had these 5 tips that I'm gonna give you guys. If I were to start all over in building an Airbnb business, what 5 steps would I do so that way I had the right mindset and the right information moving forward? And I'm gonna tell you something, if you guys stay all the way to the end, I've got something, a bonus that's unbelievable, literally so good it's gonna blow your shoes off your feet. Make sure your shoes are tied because at the end of this video, I'm gonna give you something that's gonna be game changer, okay? Each and every step is something I learned to become the #1 Airbnb coach in America. So you're gonna wanna listen to every second of this video. And the first thing is this, if I was giving you a tip, I would say that the best thing you can do to check a market, to check how people are doing, is just go on Airbnb.com. And what you're gonna do is pretend like you are a traveler, like you're going to stay in that area, okay? And then just pick a couple dates, right? Like you wanna stay for a weekend, or if you wanna stay for a week at somewhere, right? Check out their calendar. Is it available? How much are they charging per night? Do they allow pets? Right? What is their check-in time, check-out time, right? Do they allow smokers? Look at what people are doing that are successful. If their calendar is completely booked, you know they're doing something right. So if I'm looking at a market and I go on Airbnb.com, I'm gonna go, okay, cool. This market's doing great. Model, mimic, master. Remember the 3 M's in business, specifically in Airbnb. Model, mimic, and then master. Look at what people are doing. Go online as a traveler and just look at prices. Look at what people are charging so you know. Look at what their occupancy rate is so you know if it's a booked or if it's a wide open calendar, it's probably not a good area or they don't know what they're doing and they don't know how to manage a property, okay? So that's on the Airbnb side. Now, you can use the same formula once you get your property because then you can go to Airbnb.com and check out some of the amenities they have. Do they have a pool at the property, right? Do they have a hot tub? You know, do they have a personal chef? Do they have, somebody picking them up from an Uber car, right? Transportation. Do they have an easel mirror inside the master bedroom? Are they using a king bed instead of a queen bed? Do they have TVs in each room? Right? These are things that are very attractive. Do they have a workstation for people? It's number 3 right now and most, looked for as far as the amenity goes. What are things that are people doing inside the property? Look at the ceilings. Right? Look at the ceilings. If people are successful in Airbnb, you take some of the best Airbnbs, the most highest revenue Airbnbs, look at the ceilings into some of the bedrooms, right? They're putting somewhat texture or doing paint, right? Look at what it is and then model, mimic, master. Once you get your property, you can go there and just use some of the amenities that they're using and put it in your property. That's tip number 1. It's very simple to do your own market research, but I'm gonna give you another option here in a minute. Number 2, do you need paid software or should you just do the free road, which is basically Airbnb only? I'm gonna give you a tip. I would never, this is like getting into a plane with one engine. This is like getting into a car with no brakes. Don't get into this business without paid software. The failure rate of Airbnb is so high of people failing in their first year because they don't know what they're doing and Uncle Joe told them they can have a property or you saw a sign in the side of the street or you got on Zillow or you got on HotPads or you got on you got on these platforms and you have no clue what you're doing. Paid software will give you the data so you can feel comfortable about the market to say, yes, is this a good market or not? Trust me when I tell you, my students are crushing it right now. And the reason they're crushing it is because I give them my corporate level AirDNA, take this down, airdna.co, paid software, not the $50 one. You want the executive one. My students get it for free as just being a member with me, and it's the world of a difference. Let me give you some statistics so that way you have this. If you are getting into Airbnb, here's some of the things you want to look for. Number 1, you want to make sure that the average occupancy for that area is above 60%. That's the first metric. Second metric, make sure that the average daily rate, or called the ADR, is above $150. You don't want to compete with low, days in hotels. Another metric is you want to make sure that the city itself has more than 250 active Airbnbs, but less than 10,000 Airbnbs. And then you want to look for a market grade above 70. So it goes from 0 to 100. You want 70 or higher. Now you know a good market, like Savannah, Georgia. told you, if you guys stay to the end, I'm gonna blow your socks off, okay? That's how you know if it's a good market or not. Use this, go back to this video 100 times if you need to, so you can check on airdna.co and say, is this a good market or not? It just saved you guys thousands of dollars in mistakes, okay? Tip number 3, and that is this, the pricing strategy. The pricing strategy, how do I know what to price? Well, let's go back. How do you price? Well, you can go on airbnb.com and you can see what people are doing that are winning. If their occupancy is 80, 90, 100%, then they're probably doing something right. And so if that is the case, you can just look at what they're pricing. But pricing all depends on seasonality, right? Depends on weekends. You always can get more on a weekend than a weekday, right? What is the demand? What is the supply for the area? You know, is there new builds coming into the city? Is there any kind of events coming into the city? Are there, parks? Are there museums, right? What is it that people are coming in for? But that's how you want to price your unit. You want to price it based on what other people are doing, or you want to price it based on what you're doing. So my theory is this. Just because competition is doing doesn't necessarily mean that because they're the lowest in the market, that you want to go to the lowest. What I've always done is actually increase above what people are doing that are crushing it, because it'll bring in a higher clientele. For example, you can buy a pair of shoes at Walmart for 50 bucks. Why would somebody buy Louis Vuittons for $1,000? Is it the way they feel? Is it the brand? What is the reason somebody would pay $1,000 for a shoe versus 50? Okay, it's because they built a brand, and guess what? You can do the same thing with Airbnb. If you command a higher price, you're gonna weed out some of the people that are what we call freeples or cheaples. And you're gonna get a higher caliber person that's willing to pay whatever, because they, in their head, think that that is a better quality. Now, you also have to have the amenities there, and you also have to have the support to the value of what you're charging. But I would increase the price. And so you can also check your pricing with places like, get a software like Price Labs, get a software like Wheelhouse, Guesty for Host. They'll do automatic pricing, but I don't leave it to those software. That gives me an idea, but it doesn't tell me exactly where I need to be. So I manually go in and change the prices on a daily basis. And so you'll have an idea where you need to be. And let me give you an example. Further out on your calendar, it should be higher prices. As it's coming closer to the day that you're looking, you should have lower prices. Higher on the weekends, about 25 to 30% higher on the weekends than weekday. If you have a weekday at 200 bucks, you should probably be at 250 to 275 on a weekend. Okay, if you have an event coming in, you can charge $1,000 a night if it's in a Super Bowl, right? So you have to be able to look at it on a daily basis. The other thing too is called orphan days. So as you're getting into being an Airbnb host, you're gonna have days where a booking and then another booking, and then there's a couple days or a day in between where it's not booked. For those couple days to show up in Airbnb's algorithm, it's very difficult for someone to get that booked. It's gonna be difficult for you to get it booked. And so for that reason, you've got to lower your prices down significantly to make it attractive to somebody who's looking for those days on that date in that exact month. But for example, I would lower it literally 40, 50, 60% at sometimes just so I can get a booking. Because if tomorrow comes and you don't book yesterday, you're not grabbing yesterday and bringing it forward. Once it's gone, it's gone. You can never take the inventory back. So I'd rather have 50 to 100 bucks than a zero. And that's the way you have to think about this. Okay, so pricing strategy, very simple. You can get some ideas off of Airbnb. I'd always increase based on the competition. Look at it, but play with it. Over the first couple months, you're gonna be playing with the pricing strategy a lot. And then after 6 months, you're gonna get it. You're gonna see what's working. And then you're gonna be able to go from there to see, hey, after 6 months, you guys should nail it, right? Tip number 4, and that is less expense on the front end. One of the things that I've been really, really good at is getting my students saving the money on the front end so they can be more profitable quicker. Okay, let me give you an example. Furnished properties, no first month or second month of rent, no software payment, no lease. These are expenses, guys, on the front end that my students are not having to pay, right? So when you Google how much does it cost to get an Airbnb and you get an idea and it tells you between 5 and 10,000, that is correct. First month rent, you got your security deposit, you've got your furniture, you've got your software, you've got your leases, and you have no coach and you're at $7,500. But what if I told you that I could slash that over 75 to 80% and you have the #1 coach helping you the entire process? Would I have your attention? And that's what I do for my students. Tip number 5, and that is this. You've got to have the mindset, guys. 80% of the success in any business comes right here between your ears, and if you believe it and dream it, you can achieve it. I'm telling you this, in Airbnb arbitrage is very low. The upside is very high if you do this right, okay? The risk is low. The upside is high. And that's why in 2024 and in 2023 and 2022, entrepreneurs are coming out of everywhere going, you know what? It's not going to be, the risk is not big, but the upside is bigger. And that's why people are not working a 9 to 5. They're getting out of their 9 to 5. Or you got people that are like, I don't want to even work a 9 to 5. I can literally get into this and start building an empire. And I'm telling you something, it all starts with the brain, because we grew up with this mindset of, everything is hoarding, right? Penny saved is a penny earned. Money don't grow in trees. Rich people are evil, right? All this condensed save when you should be investing in yourself. You invest in yourself to build your skill set up. You get into a program where you've got a community, you've got people holding you accountable, you got someone helping you, you got the #1 coach helping you. It's really hard to fail. You'd have to go to, literally want to go to China and just throw your boat off, your phone off the end of the boat. You know what I mean? That's the kind of community that I built. So you guys are looking to get into something, you need somebody who's going to hold you accountable, who's going to message you every day, who has a community, has, an unbelievable network of Airbnb people that are here to support each other, and that's what you need. Okay? If you try to do this and you try to fly without a parachute, of course you're going to fall, right? The success rate of this business is very low. The failure rate is very high. My job is to mitigate the risk of you failing. My students are crushing because they have my help, and it costs them very little to get into it, whereas everybody else, you've got, you're looking at $7,500 to $10,000. Okay? So if I can mitigate those expenses on the front end, you could be much profitable quicker than spending all that money and then have to pay it off. Make sense? All right, and the bonus is this. Take a picture of what I'm sharing with you. If I was starting an Airbnb business in 2024, here are the 15 markets that I would start with immediately. These are great markets, and I've already done the research and due diligence. This is my way of thanking you guys for being here. Also, inside the description box, you are going to see a link, okay? It's an Airbnb link. If you apply through the link, we're a superhost. It's basically like us giving you and blessing you with a superhost link so you can set up your Airbnb account. They're going to give you a bonus as well. They're going to give you a little nugget, a financial nugget, and then we get a nugget as well for having you use our link. So it's both the best of worlds. Okay, that being said, I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you for being here. If you need help, put the word Airbnb in comments, and I personally will reach out to you directly. Let's roll.